time, hasn't it?
Yep.
All right, we are live on YouTube.
All right, it's 6:45. We'll go ahead and get the meeting started. We'll go ahead and start with the Pledge of Allegiance. So everybody stand up. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, first up is the visitors' public comments. We asked for public comments before the meeting, and at that time, before the deadline, we didn't receive any. So we'll go ahead and move to the approval of the agenda. I need a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved. This is Rochelle.
Steve Core, second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Approved. We'll move on to the approval of the consent agenda items, which would include the approval of the board minutes from March 10th of 2020.
Rochelle, so moved.
Brenda, second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion approved. We don't have any district goals and leadership activities at this time. We do not have any bid request items at this time. Other business, we'll welcome Chris for a presentation of the preliminary budget for 2021.
Thank you, Chairman Tinsky, Superintendent Christensen, and Recreation Board trustees. You have on your screen here the preliminary budget for the Recreation Board for FY 2020-2021. And the revenue of $957,781 is based on the anticipated school board's approval of the recreational meal levy of 1 meal, and it is based on the 2019 assessed valuation at this point. The appropriations total is $1,197,725. That's broke up into recurring aquatic center operations budget of $614,504. Activities department approved requests this year of $105,500. Capital projects that will carry over from this year into next year in the amount of $405,000, which is for the bleachers that we're working on and the weight room upgrade at Lincoln. And then the Recreation Board outside grants that were approved for $72,721 in total. And that brings us to a projected ending fund balance, which you don't see on this sheet, but I'm going to tell you it is $1,752,531. Of that, there is designations for turf field replacements set aside, $826,428. And that is for the stadium and the Green River High School turf field replacement. And then we have a one-year designation for aquatics operations at $474,769 and an undesignated fund balance of $451,304. And I would be glad to answer any questions.
Thank you, Chris. Does the board have any questions for Chris at this time?
Yeah, Chris, the $451,304 is the money that will be available for grants when we push that out in March of 2021. Is that correct?
Yes, that would be correct. That is the undesignated amount projected.
Okay, and then for this fiscal year coming up, we are putting how much into the turf replacement projects?
Between the two fields, it's $114,036. that's split evenly between the two fields. We are on our 9th year of saving for the stadium turf replacement. So the 10th year would be 2022, and that money will be saved at that point. The high school field is scheduled for FY 2026.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Are there any more questions from the board? All right, hearing none.
I'll make a motion to approve the preliminary budget.
I'll second it.
Thank you. We have a motion, a first and a second. Any comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Does anybody have any comments? The board have any comments they want to talk about right now?
Yeah, I would like to ask Doug Hamill where we're at on the bleacher replacement. Can he give us an update on the Green River High School bleacher replacement and the one over at Truman?
So both of those projects have been demoed. So the bleachers at the high school and at Truman are gone, and just waiting for them to schedule back in the new ones.
Any kind of time frame on those, Doug, and what kind of possible, once we get usage of the gymnasium, how that will affect the main gym?
So once we get word from the contractor, he has in his contract, I think it is up until August 1st or the first week in August to be done. We'll have to allot a couple of weeks when he decides that bleachers will be here for him to install those.
Okay, is there can you, like what you've done with the Grote House project at Lincoln, can we fast track this thing or not? Or we have to wait till after July 1?
No, you fast track the bleachers.
Correct.
So that's what we did. We actually moved their demo up. They just got done yesterday, and Croftback floors are in tomorrow to start finishing gym floors in the district. And ordinarily we do that first week in July.
Okay, thank you.
All right, any board comments? All right, I call this rec board meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
And we'll get the regular board meeting going here in about 7 minutes. And Jamie's informed me we have no comments tonight from the public. Lisa's also informed me that the GREA has approved the contract that we negotiated last night. So we will have that on our agenda. And I'm glad to see Rick Carroll has joined us, and we're hoping to have Tony. I'm not sure if Kolby Ivie will be with us or not. Hopefully she will. Oh, there she is. Hi, Lori. So, okay, great. So we'll start here in about 6 minutes. So if you got something to do, go do it.
Kolby. So?
I think she's gonna give me a hard time.
Okay, I show 7 o'clock, so I'm going to call the meeting to order. I appreciate everybody being on here with us tonight. Special thanks to the board members and administration that's with us tonight. I appreciate, and all the support that are with us as well. First thing we'll do is we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance, and I do have a little bit of, I have a little flag here, so I know we just did it, but we need to do it for our board meeting. So you can stand, put your hand on your heart, sit there and put your hand on your heart, whatever you'd like to do, but we'll do the pledge to start things off tonight. So I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item is public comments, and as I mentioned earlier, we had no public comments that were turned into us by 5 o'clock today. So we'll go to 2.02, which is recognition of our winter sports accolades. And joining us is Tony Beardsley and the girls basketball coach Rick Carroll and the boys basketball coach Kolby Ivie. So Tony, I'll turn it over to you.
Good evening, Chairman Core, Superintendent Christensen, and Board of Trustees. Before I let Rick Carroll and Kolby Ivie talk about their outstanding athletes from the basketball programs this year, I wanted to let the school board know that Rick Carroll, it's an honor and a privilege for me as an athletic director to let you know that Rick Carroll was indeed voted by his peers as the 4A West Conference Girls Basketball Coach of the Year. And can't say enough about Mr. Carroll. He's been coaching for a lot of years, and for an individual to have the energy and drive that he still has after coaching for that many years is an amazing thing. He's got our girls basketball program in a great spot. They had an excellent season, got cut short by the COVID-19, but I'm really proud to be associated with Rick, and it's my honor to let you know that once again, great things happening with our coaches, and in this case, Rick Carroll, 4A West Coach of the Year. And with that, I'll go ahead and introduce Mr. Carroll, and he can let us know about his outstanding basketball players for this season, and then Kolby Ivie after that. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony, and thank you, board and administration. I'm glad to be here tonight. It's the first time in a number of years that I haven't been on a track meet with the middle school in Lander or somewhere like that. And so it's nice to be able to present these girls. First one up is Megan Counts. This year as a sophomore, she was second team all conference. She came on as the season progressed, became a starter, and just did a great job for us. Utility player that helped us in a lot of different areas, and ended up being selected as a second team all conference player. Our second girl on the list is Katie Strauss. Katie was first team all conference for us this year. As Steve Core often said on the radio, she was one of the big three for the Lady Wolves. Katie is a junior. She was also voted as second team All-State as well. So she was recognized as being one of those players that maybe has a good chance for an opportunity to be first team next year. A great shooter for us, but I think what a lot of people don't recognize is she may well have been our best defensive player throughout the course of the year, and we gave her a lot of tough assignments, and she did a great job for us throughout the entire year. Our third girl on the sheet was Ashlyn Birch. Ashlyn was nominated as a first team all conference player. This was the second time in her career for that accolade. She was also for the first time nominated as first team All-State. Ashlyn was also nominated and chosen to play in the Wyoming Coaches Association's All-Star game that's usually scheduled in July. That was just canceled at the end of last week. The Wyoming Coaches Association and the WHSAA have decided that might not be a good place for people to be. So she was nominated and she was going to play, but a great honor for her in this case as well. A couple of things about Ashlyn as she graduates this year. She is one of those players from the Lady Wolves that accumulated over 1,000 career points as a player, and she ended up with 970 rebounds in her career, which is second in Green River history. Actually, with that total, she's seventh in Wyoming history as far as ladies in the state in high school are concerned for career rebounds. She holds for Green River a single game record with 20 rebounds and a single season record for rebounds of 340. for a Green River record as well. So she had an outstanding career and was a great example for the Lady Wolves. She is going to continue her basketball career at Utah Eastern College when and if everything gets back to normal next year. Had a great career for us. And then we have our fourth player on the list, Madeline Heiser. Madeline was chosen as first team all-conference also for the second time in her career. She was also named to first team all-state. This for her was also the second time for her to receive that accolade. She was also nominated and chosen to play in the Wyoming Coaches Association All-Star Game in July. And she accepted that nomination and was planning on playing there as well. During her career, she tied a single game assist record with 12 in a game. She has the Green River Lady Wolves single season assist record with for a season for 161 assists, and she has a career record of 346 assists, which is also a Green River Lady Wolves record as well. Did an excellent job for us throughout her time at Green River High School as a point guard, and was just a very unselfish player that got the ball to where it needed to be, and did a great job for us throughout the time she played for the Lady Wolves. She, as the other girls, and I think this is one thing that we definitely should say about all four of these girls, they're all great basketball players, but they're also excellent students. They're excellent examples in Green River High School. They are just great examples of what we want our student athletes to be. They all have excellent grades. They've done, those that have taken it have done a great job with the ACT tests and scores, and it's given them multiple opportunities in their futures. One last thing, Madeline Heiser also had 902 career points. So she not only assisted, but she had a lot of points as well during her time with the Wolves. As a team this year, I think what could be said is that these ladies were the leaders, and they just gave us a great deal of effort and taught us how to play as a team. So we're real proud to be a part of that. And as a team, we were the best shooting team in the state, the second best rebounding team in the state, and the third best scoring team in the state. So the Lady Wolves had a great record, a great season, and they were truly a great time for coaching for me. And it was a great deal of joy to coach these young ladies this year. Any questions for me?
No, Rick, but certainly on behalf of the board of trustees, we really appreciate the report tonight. And you hit the nail on the head with this team. They were a lot of fun to watch. They won 21 games, and you mentioned all the records that were set. And these girls were just fun to watch. And I know you enjoyed coaching them. Unfortunately, we didn't get a chance to finish the season, but congratulations to the girls, and certainly congratulations to you, Rick, for 300 plus wins now as a head coach in Green River in 29 years. And I think you went over 700 games. I can't remember, but you coached a lot of games and touched a lot of kids' lives in this community, and we appreciate it.
Thank you, Steve.
Congratulations. Tony, introduce our next coach, please.
Thank you, Chairman Core, Superintendent Christensen, and board. I'd like to introduce Kolby Ivie, our head boys coach. Again, I'm just so proud of our basketball programs, how far they've come. Second year in a row that our boys qualified for the state tournament. She's got some outstanding athletes that she would like to introduce, and just wanted to thank her for a great season as well. And Lori, I'll let you take over.
Thank you, Mr. Beardsley, Chairman Core, Superintendent Christensen, and Board of Trustees. Appreciate the opportunity to join you guys tonight and talk about our kids. 4 kids tonight from the boys basketball team. The first one is Dylan Taylor. Dylan was a first team all conference kiddo and also a second team all state kiddo. I'm sad we did not get to finish our season. I have a feeling if Dylan would have had a chance to play at the state tournament, he would have been a first team all state pick as well. But he led our team in scoring. He scored 15 points a game. He led our team in rebounding, 6 a game. He was in the conference top 10 at the end of the season in several categories, second in scoring, rebounding, steals, 3-point percentage. And he was a top 10 in the entire state for scoring and rebounding. So he had a tremendous season for us, and his drive and determination and composure on the court made it super hard to believe that he was only a sophomore. So great things for us this season, and we look forward to what he will bring us the next couple of years. Next is Jachob Fuss. I love the pictures also. I asked the boys to send me pictures that they would like to have presented. So the pictures that are up here are the ones they've chosen. Jachob was our team captain, and he was our leader on the court. As a point guard, he had huge responsibilities for us both on and off the court. He averaged almost 9 points a game, 2 assists per game, was consistent for us from the free throw line, shooting 70%. But his most impressive stat doesn't appear in the books, but it absolutely should. He led our team in total charges taken. So a lot of times he shifted the momentum for us in a lot of big situations. He was almost always given the assignment of guarding the other team's best player and never ever backed down from that challenge. So that was our captain, Jachob Fuss. Kolby Ivie was second team all conference. He averaged 9.5 points per game. He ended up leading our conference, the West Conference, #1 for most assists. He averaged 4 per game. He was 9th in free throw percentage, shooting 74%. So he and Jachob were consistent there. And then ended the season top 10, 5th in the state for assists. Next was Drew Gibson. He's a senior. He'll graduate this year. He's played for the Wolves for 4 years. He was voted second team all conference as well. He was also selected as an alternate for the North-South All-Star game that has since been canceled. He sure came on strong for us at the end of the season. He averaged 9.4 points per game, and as an undersized post, that's pretty darn good. 6 rebounds per game. He ended in the conference top 10, 6th in rebounding, 2nd in field goal percentage, and then his field goal percentage was 5th in the state. So I can echo what Coach Carroll said in regards to great kids, great student athletes. Could not be more proud of them.
Any questions from the board for Lori? Lori, I had one quick question, if I could, the importance of those 3 qualifying games at regionals and how that's going to help your program, you think?
Yeah, absolutely. Our kids, the regional tournament was a big deal for us. Getting to qualifying for state 2 times in a row was a pretty big, we were up for a big challenge, and the kids, rose to the occasion. And I think moving forward and as we look into the future, there are definitely some good things on the horizon for boys basketball.
All right. Well, congratulations, Rick and Lori. Nice job on the programs this year. And I agree with you, Lori. I think if Green River I still think he should have been All-State, in my opinion, but certainly I think he'd have made first team All-State if Dylan was able to play in that state basketball tournament. And I echo what you said about Drew Gibson. That kid grew amazingly from where he was as a freshman and sophomore. He played a great year. He had a great senior year, and he'll be missed, but some good quality kids coming back. Again, Rick and Lori, thank you very much for stopping by. You guys are more than welcome to leave the meeting, or if you'd like to stick around and be entertained for the next hour, you're welcome to do that. It's up to you. But again, thanks for coming. Next is 3.01. I need a motion to approve our agenda as presented.
This is Karina. I'll make that motion.
Brenda, second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the agenda as presented. Any discussion on this? There being none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Next item is approval of the consent agenda items. We have the board meeting minutes, the bills, the financial documents and investments, nutrition services report, asking to approve our dues for the Wyoming School Boards Association and the National School Boards Association. Also, the Head Start lease, the CDC screening contract, consider several BOCES grants as outlined, and I think you can read those. Also, we have a letter and a presentation from Region 5 BOCES. I understand Dan may be with us tonight. Appreciate him coming on board with us. Certified openings, the recognition of homeschool requests and enrollment. Is there anything on this consent agenda item that anybody would like to discuss further? I need a motion to approve, please.
Motion.
Rochelle, second.
Moved by Mark, seconded by Robin to approve the consent agenda items. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Next item is 5.01, consider ratification of the interest-based negotiations agreement that we hammered out last night. Lisa Robeson informed me today that was approved. And Chris, quickly, if you would just kind of run through what was approved, and then we'll get Lisa on and we'll get this thing hammered. We'll get this thing done.
All right, thank you, Chairman Court. So the agreement, as you see it here, it offers a vertical experience step on the salary schedule in the amount of $712. It offers a $100 increase to the base, moving the base $48,665. It also honors horizontal movement for education. And that amount is for the eligible employees that qualify as $1,017. For support staff, a vertical step of 20 cents, a base increase of 3 cents, so a 23-cent an hour raise in their hourly rate. The activities schedule does adjust because we have a base increase of $100. Those are percentages of the base, so there are slight adjustments to the activity schedule. As far as the health and dental insurance premiums, the district did experience a 13% increase to our health insurance for next year. And what you see here is the different price increases, the price increase for both the district and the employee. The premium split percentages remain the same. For full-time employees, that's 88.3% for the district, 11.7% for the employees. I'll just read these amounts if anybody's interested. The single increase for the district side of the policy is $918.04. The employees increase is $121.52 for the year. For the family plan, the district's increase is $1,957.20, and the employees increase is $259.32. On our $1,500 deductible plan, of which we have some people still on that plan. The district increase for a single is $746.64 per year. The employee increase is $186.72 per year. And the family plan under that one is district increase of $1,593.24 per year. And the employee increase of $398.52 per year. And then our main part-time policy that we offer, a $2,500 deductible plan. The single increase for the district, $701.64 per year. And the employee increase is $175.56 per year. Family increase is $1,481.52 per year. And the employee increase is $370.56 per year. So on that note, the package is, I'll continue with the retirement first of all. Effective 7/1/2020, there is a scheduled increase in the Wyoming retirement system premium. That is a 0.25% increase for both the employee and the district. That moves the employees' portion of, or the employees' percentage of premium to 3.43% and the district's to 14.69%. And as of right now, there is one more scheduled increase by statute for 7/1 of 2021, but this is moving along the previous legislation that was passed. Substitutes end up getting just the base increase on the hourly rate, which for support subs is 3 cents per hour, for certified subs is 4 cents per hour. So it is a benefit heavy package, but the negotiations went well, and if anybody has any questions, I'll try to answer them. Thank you.
Hey, Chris, this is Mark. I got a question.
Mhm.
Chris, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Why such an increase in the rates this year?
We have an increase in the
I'm
rates
sorry.
due to our claims.
Okay.
We had claims that exceeded our stop loss. We had some claims over $100,000. We had a claim that was well over even the stop loss. And what ended up happening is our trust, the WEP trust, they actually covered our very high claim for us. And even with that, we moved into the category of our claims exceeded 100% of our premiums, which moved us into an increased category of 19%. And the WEP trust, however they grant the increase, they based on our longevity with them and what they could do for our, ended up settling on a 13% increase. So it's something to note that we could not sustain that kind of an increase again, and we may have to be looking at some of our coverages. We do have $1,000 deductible on our health insurance plan, which is a good deductible in these times, but something we're going to keep an eye on this year and probably investigate for sure to see if we can mitigate any premium in any of that level of premium increases in the future.
Yeah, I think as a board, we're going to have to talk about some options we have. That's a pretty huge increase.
It is.
With a lot of premiums going down this year. Us going up 13% is a pretty big hit for the district. So I think the board's going to have to maybe hear some more on this and see what our options are.
Okay, we will be working on that and keep you in the loop on that.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mark. Any other questions of Chris? Okay, there being none. Lisa Robeson, you had a chance to visit with your GREA members today. Welcome to the meeting. Fill us in on what happened.
Yeah, it's been fast and furious. First of all, we had negotiations Monday night. Then this morning at 8 o'clock, I had a Zoom meeting for all GREA members to listen to the presentation. There were about 70 members all total that ended up on there. And then I sent out a recording of that along with what has been presented here tonight that Chris so beautifully always puts together. It's wonderful. And so then I started the election process via Google Forms, and they had all day to vote, and it closed at 6. So we had 133 members vote, which is 68%. We had 96% vote in favor, 4% against. So it passed with a great deal of support.
All right, great. That sounds good. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. I need a motion to approve the interspace negotiated agreement with our employees, please.
So moved.
Brenda, second.
Moved by Karina, seconded by Brenda to approve this. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And let the record note that I am abstaining from this vote. Thank you. Next item is the district goals and leadership activities. Got committee reports. Robin or Brenda, you want to bring us up to date on Child Development Center?
We're doing our meetings via Zoom, which has been very minimal still, but I think things are moving along. They're teaching just like our teachers are teaching from remote situations, and I think our staff has really stepped up to the plate just like our district staff has. So I think it's going well. Robin?
Yeah, I think my only comment is the children that they work with there are younger, and it's much more difficult to present any sort of curriculum to those babies when you're not right there with them. And I have to give them a pat on the back for really working hard and trying to make that work for those very little kids and kids who really don't understand why they don't have their teacher there to hug or, you know, help them through something, being there physically. So I really commend them for their hard work and putting together curriculums that parents can work with along with the kids. So kudos to them. It's very difficult for them, for sure.
Okay, thank you, Robin and Brenda. Appreciate that update. Region 5 BOCES, Brenda. Oh, do you have one other thing on Child Development Center?
No,
Go
just
ahead.
on Region 5 BOCES.
Yeah, I had you down. I had you there, Brenda.
I know. You were getting there. Yeah, so that's been an interesting situation. Again, teaching remotely, CBARV has been a real challenge, but I think Dan and his crew have really done a remarkable job of getting students where they needed to be outside of CBARV. We had several that couldn't go anywhere, and so adjusting for that has really been a challenge for him. But and then they are actually looking at opening another school. We've got one in Evanston here in Green River, or Sweetwater County, and then of course Lander, and then they're looking at one in I think it's Douglas, near Douglas. But there's definitely a need out there, and Dan is doing a great job. Hopefully he'll be able to update us more on that later in the meeting.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. Rochelle, do you have anything on BOCES? I know we just approved a bunch of grants that we're putting in for that, but was any updates on that?
Yeah, we are. We're moving to do registration online to accommodate what's going on right now and make things a little easier for people. Hoping to be able to have some classes in July. The Western has allowed us to go into August some, which they typically haven't done, but they're getting all their deep cleaning done now. And so they have been very gracious to extend that time so we can get some more classes done. They're looking at making some changes to some of them, such as the biggest one, or one of the most popular of the summer ones, is the astronomy camp, and that will not be able to happen the way it has in the past. And we don't know what kind of changes, if they'll be able to make enough to do it this year or not, but they're all working really hard to get it done and make sure that we still have some of those summer things that those kids can do, and give them some social interaction at the same time.
Okay, great. Thanks. Appreciate those updates. We've got Green River High School graduation, and we're going to have our principals talk about that towards the end of the meeting. Green River High School will be Monday, Exhibition Academy Tuesday, and then there's a big parade and fun things going on Wednesday, and we'll talk more about that at the end of the meeting. Next item is to consider approval of certified resignations request. Mr. Fuss, welcome to the meeting.
Thank you, Chairman Core, trustees, Superintendent Christensen. The reason why you don't recognize those two names is because we approved them a month ago and they have since resigned. They're not even going to sign their initial contract. So Zachary Schmidt and Jonathan Zabriskie, the Spanish teacher, both at Lincoln Middle School. So thanks for approving them a month ago and now approving their resignations.
Okay, and we've all received the letters of resignation as to what's going on with those two. So I need a motion to approve Zach Schmidt and John Zabriskie, please.
Brenda,
Rochelle, second.
Is that Brenda that moved?
Yes.
Okay, Brenda moved, Rochelle second to approve the certified resignations of Mr. Schmidt and Mr. Zabriskie. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item on our agenda is to consider approval of the 2021 new certified contracts. Mr. Fuss?
Okay, in the consent agenda, as everybody saw just a second ago, as you approved that, we're very proud that we only have 2 certified openings left. They are probably going to be pretty tough to fill, math at EA and the science over at Lincoln, but we're down to 2, and I want to commend the administrators for the hard work they've done up until this point. New certified recommended contracts for the 2021 school year: Yolanda Crowder, counselor, Harrison Elementary; Emily Rosca, Title I, part-time, Truman Elementary; Michelle Lyon, Spanish teacher, ELL teacher, Lincoln Middle School; Joy Brady, back with us, basic life skills, Lincoln Middle School. She's postponing her retirement for a year. Thank you, Joy. Danielle Dieters, master social worker, Green River High School; Michaela Fletcher, first grade teacher, Washington Elementary; and Mackenzie Brown, counselor, Lincoln Middle School. Thank you for your consideration.
I need a motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Ashley moved to approve the new certified contract, seconded by Mark Sanders. Any discussion on this? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you,
Thank you.
Jason. Appreciate it. Next item on the agenda is Mr. Ferginzer. Here, an update on the adapted learning plan and summer plans. And I've had a lot of questions about what we're doing about summer school. So Greg, Ferginzer, I look forward to your report.
So thank you, Chairman Core, Superintendent Christensen, Board of Trustees. Our summer school plan this year, we had to scale it back. And I think that Joe is going to talk a little bit possibly about the high school summer school piece. We are looking at options for a jumpstart program in July, and using some of our ESSER funds, our CARES Act funds, to work with that and put that into place. But that is something that is going to take quite a bit of planning, and part of the conversations that I'm having with the elementary, middle, and high school principals this week will be centered around part of that. And right now we are looking at the closing of a year that was absolutely unpredicted. I mean, there's no way to plan for some of the things that we've had to deal with. I think our administrators and our teachers have done an amazing job. I was talking to a friend of mine from across the state, and I don't think that all boards and people in systems value the work that is going on right now. And I know a lot of people are just absolutely working every bit, if not harder, than they did when school was in typical sessions. So all of the staff appreciates your support in that, in all the things that you've done to keep people whole and make sure that they know that they're valued. Superintendent Christensen has worked hard with the high school on not only graduation, but grading through the end of this time period. We have, a number of strategies that we now have to work on for opening of next year. And what we're going to look at is we have to plan for not going back to business as usual. Superintendent Balo has said over and over and over, it isn't going to look like it has in the past right away. And so what we're looking at and what we have to plan for, and part of the conversations that I'm having with administration, is what are we going to do if we have a delayed start? What are we going to do if we have if we have to step back out of school? What happens if we start school as we normally do? And so what we are looking at is planning for worst case scenario. And we are looking at recording lessons with some of our people that have really looked and done an outstanding job at their delivery, and finding ways that we can spread the work as we head into next year. my initial conversation with elementary principals last Friday, we are moving forward on placing kids in junior kinder for next year. We don't have the screening pieces that we normally do. It doesn't mean that we won't be able to screen kids as a little bit different environment as we come back in the fall. But right now we are looking at our parents that have requested our junior kindergarten first. All of those positions, all of those placements will be granted. And then we are looking at our youngest to our oldest based in our September 15th, backtracking to March birthdays. And we are offering positions and looking to fill that to a place of about 30 to 32 kids, giving us a little cushion for the beginning of the year. And if we find some students that have a real need, we want to have some placement openings there. I think that right now we are looking at Washington having about 11 kids in their program already. And we are in the process, principals are working hard to call parents and walk them through the program, talk about the program, offer spaces. And we hope to have our junior kindergarten filled to that 30 or 32 number by the beginning of next week. So then we are meeting, elementary principals and I will meet again on Friday to continue conversations about what kind of staff development do we need, not only this summer, but also in the fall. I'm also meeting with middle school and high school principals on Thursday to hit some of the same topics. What common platforms are we going to use? Meaning, are we going to stick with something like Google and Google Classroom, the Google suite of tools that we use? Is there something that's working better? Based on those types of things, then I can plan the staff development. And all of those unique staff development pieces that we need to plan for next year will loop back into the CARES Act funding and should not, we will pay as much as that as we can before we touch our general funds. So that leads me to kind of the end of my presentation this evening and open for any questions.
Any questions of Greg from the board? Okay, I've got a couple of questions, and this one's going to Joe Hamill, I guess. Joe, can you bring us up to date on the student discipline side of this virtual learning thing? With, I don't know how that all looks, but I understand you're doing something in that realm.
Yeah, we have a program called BARC that monitors all emails going into and out of the district, especially for students here at Lincoln. And, for the first month or so, it wasn't nearly what it has been for the last month or so. Kids were just trying to get acclimated. And so you'd get 5 or 6 BARC emails a day, and every single one of those comes, and then you have to read them, and you determine whether it's severe in nature, whether there's some sort of self-harm, whether they're threatening somebody, etc. And then we went through a stretch of about 3 weeks to a month where I bet I was reading 40 of those emails a day, and it might be with 5 kids. And so every single time one of those 5 kids would send another message to somebody, it would flag those. And, we've had some talking about self-harm where we've turned around and called the SRO to try and check and make sure that those kids are okay. We did send one kid, went to the hospital last week, and that kid, got sent home and got released. But, it was partly by what we saw going online, and then I've been making phone calls back and forth to parents saying, hey, I don't know if you understand what your kid's talking about online. Here's some of the things that have been going on. Usually when you talk to parents, they kind of put an end to it, but some kids are repeat offenders, just like they would be if they were here.
Okay, Joe, thanks. Extremely important stuff you're talking about there, and we appreciate you keeping up on that. Is there any questions of Joe?
Steve, I have a question of Greg, if I can, real quick.
Sure.
Greg, I have some concerns about our new kids that would be starting school next year if we're not starting the normal classroom, especially the pre-K and kindergarten kids who do not have a contact relationship with their teachers. Do we have something in place to help promote that type of
So
relationship?
a lot of the challenges we have, if you listen to Dr. Fauci, he testified to the Senate and said we have to be very careful about reopening the economy. We have to be very careful about reopening common areas and contacts with lots of people. So part of our plan has to be, how can we do a modified day? How can we have the distancing necessary in each classroom? But yes, it is absolutely incredibly important that we have some sort of contact, not only with the kids to their teachers, but the parents to that teacher as well, because a lot of our incoming kindergartners, their parents are new too. This is new for them. So we do take all of those things very seriously and looking at how can we make those things happen, but we're at a bit of a standstill until we know what we're allowed to do at the beginning of next year. Are we still talking about the 6 feet separation between people? Does that mean then we have a few kids come in at a time, a few parents come in at a time, and looking at what some of those pieces will be? But we will work through that with the principals and roll that out to not only you, but our teachers as well. So it's all in the works.
Okay, thank you, Greg.
You're welcome.
And I guess I don't know who this goes to, but what are we doing anything summer wise for credit recovery? That was asked of me the other day and I couldn't answer it. So I don't know.
We're planning on starting credit recovery at the 9 through 12, so at the high school level, on May 26th and running through June 26th. It's the exact same time frame that we've offered the last number of years. Unfortunately, this year we're going to have to try and do that all virtually. Fortunately, the program that we've been using is a program called Play-Doh, and kids have worked online doing that in years past. The one difference is obviously the teachers aren't going to be right there while they're working on the computer to help, but they're going to be available to provide that from 8 to 1 every day for 5 weeks.
Okay, perfect, good. Now I can answer that question when it's asked of me. Any other questions of the board? Okay, Joe and Greg, thank you very much for your time tonight. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hang on the line. You never know, something might come up. I'm going to do this now. I was going to do it at following the graduation ceremony, but I would like to have each principal just give a quick update, not maybe necessarily an update, but their thoughts on how this is working and maybe some things that's not working so well. But just if we can keep this short and sweet and to the point, I'd appreciate it. And I wrote all the names down, and sorry, Anne Marie, you're the first one. So Anne Marie, give us a quick update on Washington, please.
Absolutely. Good evening, Chairman Corr, Superintendent Christensen, Board of Trustees. At Washington, I'm going to echo a lot of what has been said. These teachers are working extremely hard around the clock, learning about the technology and the platforms to deliver the best instruction, not only within the reading, writing, and math, but our specials as well. I can say for Washington, we have had 100% of our students contacted and participation is happening. Participation levels do vary amongst the children. We see a variety of work coming in throughout the course of the week, evenings, and the weekend. It really has been eye-opening and helping us understand the dynamics if we were to do this longer or have to stop school and do it again, that understanding that school isn't just from our 9 to 3 in this type of platform, especially with our younger children and having families needing to support them to some level. I think we're seeing participation slowly go down a little bit now with summer just around the corner, just as we would during our school year if we were to have them within our own walls at this point in time. But I think it's it's been an amazing experience and an opportunity to really build some relationships with families. And I couldn't be more proud of the staff and our families and the work they've done at this point in time.
Okay, Anne-Marie, thank you. If there's a question from the board, they can pipe in. David over at Truman. David, welcome.
Thank you, Chairman Core. So yeah, I'm just going to echo a lot of what Anne-Marie said. I couldn't be prouder of our teachers and our students and our families and all that. This wasn't anybody's first choice in any way, shape, or form, but the way that they have embraced it and the way that our teachers are supporting those families, I've heard only positive things about the support that they're giving for each other. And, everybody wants to get back. Everybody's wondering what the end of this year looks like, what the beginning of next year looks like. But, we've really gelled as a community there. So I'm proud of everybody there.
Okay, thank you, David. Appreciate it. Jared at Monroe.
All right, Chairman Core, Superintendent Jamie Christensen, and the board, appreciate the time. One thing, just echoing the same commentary, what's amazing to see is our PLCs work effectively, where we didn't drop any beats. We just went straight from having these challenges and straight to, okay, what are we going to do next? And we're really seeing teachers work long hours and really plan in what students need, and just the communication with helping parents and helping through technology issues. Little things like picking up students' materials from school becomes a pretty thorough process that we had to go through, in a well-organized process. And we were able to do that, and teachers and parents kind of all have been a part of that process as well as possible, and try to do little things, whether it's end of year, kindergarten graduation, doing a little bit of a parade on the last day of school. So just a lot of planning and a lot of things that kids can be excited about. We still did a virtual dance, and just different things that we can try to keep kids excited. I know that they're really, we're all kind of tired of these pieces, but we're just really learning from it and what we can learn to become better as teams and problem solve, and really kind of start to say, okay, this is what we need to do, make this shift for next year with regards to planning schedules and getting everything tightened up with hiring and just getting the right team members on board.
All right, thanks, Jared. Robin, Mark, could you guys mute your mics, please? Get a little feedback. Steve Lake from Harrison, welcome.
Thanks, Chairman Core, members of the board, Superintendent Christensen. I don't have a whole lot more to add other than I'm super proud of our staff over here at Harrison. You always want to be a part of a team that are surrounded by people that kind of rise to the occasion. And that's what I've seen over here. And, to echo kind of what Jared said about the PLC process, I'm grateful for the district for allowing us to really implement that the last couple of years, because I've seen the power behind that in this setting. Those teams that are effective at working together have made this transition very easy. As far as the challenge goes, I still think it's kind of been said already. It's the really training of parents and for our younger kids and getting them on board with what we're doing and the same platform. And I think we've learned a lot. We're in the process now. In fact, the last PLC meetings we had this week, we were starting to talk about reflection and what are we learning from this situation. We're going to send out a survey to our parents and get some feedback from them to see what things went well for them and what things that we can do and provide for them in the future to help this process out if we have to do it again. So again, I'm proud of our students. I'm proud of our staff. I'm proud to be a part of a group of people that have just risen to the occasion. So any questions for me?
All right, Steve, thanks for that update. Appreciate it. Matt Mickelson, Lincoln Middle School.
Chairman Core, Superintendent Christensen, members of the board. Thank you for letting us speak tonight. The one thing I think that's been really good for us and our staff is just the growth. I think the technology piece and having them go through this, it was kind of a sink or swim opportunity here, and they've really rise to the occasion. So I think our professional development in the technology end is really grown from this. And honestly, I think it's going to make us better educators. I think that we can use this to our advantage, and it's just another tool that we have in our toolbox. So I think the one other thing that's really come about this is that communication. I think we have a lot of students that go online and they check off the boxes saying that they've completed things, but they're not really being completed. And so I think there's that communication piece back with parents and with our students saying, you just can't check the box, you got to turn it in too. And so we've had a little bit of miscommunication with that, and we're working through that. But the other thing that's been really good is, working with the staff, working with the students, but the remodel got to start earlier. So hopefully that thing will get done. And it's a mess over here. We don't have water. We don't have a lot of things going on. The hallways are all tore up, but it's another thing that we said, hey, you know what, this is going to be nice for them to get in there and get done. And so hopefully we can get started right away in the fall.
Okay, Matt, thank you. Ralph Obrey over at Expedition Academy.
Chairman Core, board members, Superintendent Christian, thank you. Good evening. It's been a struggle, but it's been rewarding, like some of the other admin have shared. We have contacted 100% of our students. We've had a few that have made the choice to not participate, not engage, but that number is only 3 out of our entire building. We're still working with those. We've set up individual meetings with teachers, counselors, admin, reached out with the SRO. I've done some home visits and knocked on the door and said, hey, where you at? What can we help you with? We've had staff working and receiving and sending stuff out on Saturdays and Sundays. They've just done an excellent job, as everybody else has mentioned. Probably the one thing I have come to notice, it was very humbling at the beginning. I was like, hey, this is what we're going to do. You're going to get grades. You're going to send these things in. We're going to get right through the end of the year. But then you'd have conversations with some parents who have lost jobs. Kids are taking care of their little brothers and siblings. The last thing they had on their mind was school, really. And they've really struggled. But they've come around towards the end of the school year here and started to participate. So kudos to those guys that are going through this and persevering, and hopefully it'll be better come August.
All right, thank you, Ralph. And by the way, you win the background prize tonight, at least the one I've seen. Good job. And we got a couple more we want to go to. Mike Imoni, I guess you're going to handle Green River High School. Mike, welcome.
Chairman Core, Commission, Board of Trustees, we appreciate it again. You giving us an opportunity to talk tonight. There's probably a lot of similar things happen with school. I kind of want to echo a lot of the sentiments that a lot of the other administrators have talked about. I know going on this journey that I don't think I'd ever be on any other district's community board in the state. Our teachers have done a really nice job of adapting what we've asked them to do and trying to provide instruction to kids. A couple of things that really stuck out was how well we had people adjust to technology and getting information to students over Google Classroom. So, at first we were just kind of scratching the surface on Google Classroom and the online platform, but they really off and ran with it. And, a lot of that was through the PLC process. We set up a schedule where our teachers had to meet once a week with the paraprofessionals and sports support staff, and they were collaborating more than 1 hour a week consistently. And that collaboration really took off and allowed them to do some really cool things in the classroom. Similar to what Steve has talked about with reflection, we've talked about some things they're going to implement next year in the classroom with Google Classroom to get more in tune and be a little bit more effective and efficient with technology. We've noticed how effective we are with our classes as far as that planning piece. They've done a really nice job of being on point, doing similar things across the board. So Kids aren't getting different things, so we have that guaranteed and viable curriculum. A couple of the challenges that we've seen though are with the communication piece. We've tried to reach out to our kids, make phone calls, use Infinite Campus a little bit more as far as the messenger service. Ralph, we've talked to 100% of our kids, but the hard piece is going through and not reaching those kids that haven't responded. So we haven't had a lot of those. I would say the number of students that haven't responded or are going to receive incompletes at the end of the semester is really small. We're going through that process right now, identifying the at-risk students. As far as the ones that haven't satisfied a grade, and we're the last 2 weeks of school, we're going to start to focus on those students to try to make sure they get all their work turned in to receive an A through a D and don't have to go through that incomplete protocol. So that's kind of where we're at. We are going to graduate. I can only think of maybe 1% to 2% right now that aren't on track to receive their diploma this year, and that's due to the work our counselors and our teachers have done trying to engage our students. So,
Okay, any questions of Mike?
Hey, Mike, what is the graduation this year percentage?
Can't tell you off the.
Yeah, Mike, you're kind of cutting out. I know, Mark, that comes from the state education department, and that'll come later in the year. I'm not sure how that works, but that's where it comes from.
We don't have an idea at this point.
It'll be hard because we'll have to see kids that moved out and then didn't request transcript later, those types of things. But I would say, as far as the kids that are in the building right now, it's probably 1% to 2% that didn't get.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. Thanks, Mark. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate that. Dr. Demaray, if you're still awake, give us a quick update on special needs kids, special ed.
Thanks, Chairman Core and members of the board, as well as Superintendent Christensen. I think I'll echo what everyone has said. The staff's done a wonderful job. It's hard to replicate the services we offer in the school or the classroom for our students, especially with our students that have significant needs. And so I know our parents are really eager to get those kids back in our buildings. The main shift right now for us, and I know a lot of our staff, is we're having to start planning for the next year, and we're transitioning a lot of our kids. CDC students, we're having to transition all of those without being able to put our eyes on them, and that's been challenging for our staff, as well as transitioning from building to building. Those are pieces that in the past we've been able to get teams together, and now we're having to do all that virtually. So the game goes on, so we can't stop and not do those activities. So we've been planning for those pieces, as well as our summer extended school year program that we offer for students with special needs. That's a requirement for the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. And so we're having to offer that. And right now we're following suit of some of the other districts, and we're going to plan on June being virtual. And then in July, we'll kind of take a look and see where we're at with things. And if we can have contact with our students, we'll plan on having face-to-face contact in small groups or individual sessions, depending on what restrictions are in place and where we're at in terms of the governor's orders, as well as our county health professionals. So I know a lot of our parents have asked that if we can, to have that session in face-to-face. They're really wanting that contact for their kids with our trained professionals. And so we're gonna really rely on our county health folks to give us that guidance. But that's going to probably require another planning session for us to plan for July. But right now, June will be virtual, as will the high school summer school piece. So that's an update.
All right. Thank you, Alan. Appreciate it. Trey Bailey, I understand you are the principal at McKinnon. How are things at the rural schools?
Hey, thank you, Chairman Core and Board of Trustees, Superintendent Christensen. McKinnon's always, I can't ever speak highly enough about the ladies that work at McKinnon. They've really done a nice job. There's a lot of unique challenges that come with the rural schools in themselves. And And the distance model, of course, has continued to provide some of that. But, you know, they jumped right in. We haven't done as much of the technology piece as the rest of the district has. What we learned very quickly in McKinnon was, you know, internet was a little bit more of a concern than it was in the remainder of the district. And our families felt a lot more comfortable trying to put together a model that was paper pencil. And so we established a little system where our teachers would put together packets on a Monday, and they would be picked up, and then they work on them throughout the week, and then they would drop off at the end of the week, and teachers would have a chance to then look at them on Fridays and over the weekend, and then provide feedback and adjust in the coming weeks. And so, yeah, it does look a little bit different than the rest of the district and kind of what some of the in-town schools are doing, but it's been a model that we've felt has been good for our kids and good for our families. And I can't ever speak highly enough about the staff members we have out there. We have a K through 2 and a 3 through 5 teacher, and then a para in each of those settings as well. And I tell you, those 4 ladies are really go-getters and have worked really hard for kids, and have been extremely flexible and adapted through this entire process. So very proud of their work, very proud of our kids too. Checked in with them, you know, about weekly to see how things are going, and they're very positive about everything. And so while I don't think this ever replaces the teacher in front of the classroom, and the value in that, I'll tell you that I'm super proud of the efforts that our folks out there have made at McKinnon to make this work for the time being. And I think they're doing a really nice job.
All right, thank you, Trey. I appreciate it. And then finally, Jamie Christensen, our superintendent, is actually the principal at Tolman. Boy, this is probably a tough update for you, Jamie, but how's things going on at Tolman?
Well, it is, because I haven't talked to Andy Winters out there for a couple of weeks, and you know, last time I talked to him, he said things are going well, and they just kind of rolled with it, and he's got such a nice relationship with the family and the student out there that the contact and the continual communication is pretty easy. So I know that they're still plugging away, but he's pretty darn self-sufficient out there.
All right, thank you. Board, is there any questions of any of the people we had speak?
Chairman Cork, may I interrupt for just a moment? I can give you a Granger update. This is Anne Marie Covey.
I forgot about Granger. Way to go, Jamie. You forgot to tell me about Granger, darn it. I was rolling too.
I'll hop in about Granger's. I'm the principal out there. I'm going to tell you, Tara is doing amazing. She has live meetings every day with each of the 4 children, going over their academics, and of course they're supported with the specialist teachers from our in-town schools that go out. But they have daily live meetings with all of the students and live instruction and feedback going on there. So they're doing amazing out there, and with their technology as well. It's been going well.
Well, I'm not surprised that Tara is doing what she's doing. She's a go-getter.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you. I know this wasn't on the agenda, but I thought I've had a lot of questions, and I know the board has too. So I thought hearing from all our principals of what's going on and what their thoughts are, I think it's important tonight for those people that might be listening into our board meeting. So I apologize for not giving you a heads up on that, but it just kind of hit me as we were going through this, but I appreciate it. Now we head to the boring part of our board meeting, our bid request items. 9.01, consider approval of the RFP results for Lincoln Middle School weight room. Matt, I have you down talking about this, or Chris, one of the two.
Chairman Core, I'll discuss this. I've got it. I don't know if Chris wanted to or not, but Superintendent Christensen, members of the board, I don't think this is the boring part, Mr. Core. I'm pretty excited about this. And so we're requesting the approval for the weight room project here to Foundation Fitness for $61,857.
Okay, I need a motion, please.
So moved.
Karina, second.
Moved by Rochelle and seconded by Karina. Any questions of Matt?
Did we
I
have
just have
any,
one. Go ahead, Brenda.
did we have any other bidders, or was there just one?
Yeah, we did. We had 4 bidders. One of the bids came in, and there was 2 parts to this. One was equipment, and one was some other some machines and some other things like that. And one of the bidders didn't put the whole deal in. And then we thought with the other ones that this was the best machines that we could get for the price. And so there was 4 different bids.
Okay, that's a darn good question, Brendan. I'm going to reiterate. I think when we do these bids, we need a list of the people who bid on it, what they bid, to be as transparent as we possibly can be to the people out there that take the time to bid on these things. So in the future, I would appreciate it if we listed all the bidders and what their bid prices were. Any other discussion on this? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Matt. Appreciate it. Next on our agenda is to consider approval to go to bid for a mower. Mr. Hamill, welcome back.
Thank you, Chairman Core, Board of Trustees. So this is our third year of our mower replacement to replace the 3 2004 Hustlers. And we would be asking for your consideration to go to bid for a new mower not to exceed 80,000.
I need a motion, please.
So moved.
Moved by Brenda, second by Karina to go out to bid for a new mower not to exceed 80,000. Any questions on this?
Yeah, Doug, this is Mark. Is it just a mower or we got other implements with it?
No, these are just mowers.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, any other questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Next, consider approval to go to bid for an engraver at Lincoln Middle School. Matt, are you there? I guess
I'm back again. Thank you, Chairman
Okay,
Core,
you bet.
Christensen, members of the board. We'll make sure we put this in with this bid here, but we're requesting to go out to bid the RFP to replace the laser engraver. We have one down here, but it's so outdated, we can't even get software anymore to update it and make it run anymore. So we want to update that and something a little bit more suitable for the middle school students.
Okay, I need a motion to go for an RFP for a laser engraver not to exceed $35,000.
All motion.
Moved by Mark.
Second, Rochelle.
Second by Rochelle. Any questions of Matt? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And as you just heard, I got an ESPN update. You guys want to know what it is?
Yeah.
No, you don't. It's about the NBA. All right. Next up is under other business is 10.01. Consider approval of the RSM agreement extension through August 31st, 2020. J.R. Williams, welcome to our meeting.
Thank you, Chairman Core, Superintendent Christensen, members of the board. We are seeking approval to extend the contract with RSM to complete our summertime projects and other projects that were delayed due to COVID-19, and also to take advantage of the summer, the ability to do projects in the summertime. So we'd like to extend that contract till the end of August at the current rate, and this is a follow-up to that board workshop we had a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, and I think everybody was at that workshop, and I think we were all kind of in agreement. Let's get a motion on the floor, and I have a question. So I need a motion to extend the RSM agreement extension through August 31st, 2020.
So moved.
Moved by
second.
Karina.
Oh,
Moved by Brenda, second by Karina. Maybe it was Ashley. It could have been Mark. I know it wasn't Mark. Anyway.
Yeah, that
Anyway.
one.
Anyway, Mary, I think you got it. Any discussion?
Yeah, what you brought up COVID delaying stuff. Does that mean that we got a price break on COVID delays?
So it did not. We haven't talked to them about it. As far as a break, I think that's a valid discussion that we should have with them. And I know that some of this CARES Act money, I think, is going to be able to help us with this. And I think that's kind of what it's designed for, is to cover issues that were caused by this pandemic.
Yeah, Mark, we did discuss that, Mark, at the meeting about using some COVID money on this, because they did say in the presentation that some of this delay was due to the COVID-19, and we're getting COVID money, and I think we'll be able to use some of that money to cover the cost of this, I hope.
Yeah, and I'm good with that. Although if people don't, if they can't come to work because of it, I don't think we should be paying them full price because they're not at work. So I think they should cover their costs by COVID money versus school district money.
We were actually able to utilize like the hours and things that we had built in other ways to do more remote work and kind of do some more legwork on these projects in the summer. So it's not like we were just paying them to do nothing. They were doing a lot remotely. And the fact that we've been kind of shut down and in summer mode, we've been able to do some other projects that we wouldn't have been able to do otherwise.
Well, and I think that's key that you're able to tell us what progress has been made versus a standstill.
Yep. Yeah. So yeah, we've been able to do a lot of stuff on our network that is able to be done remotely. It's just a lot of these projects for the summertime hinge on them being on site to assist.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yep.
All right. Good questions, Mark. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Next item, consider approval of our preliminary budget. Chris, welcome back to the meeting.
Thank you, Chairman Core, Superintendent Christensen, and trustees. Jamie is going to load up the summary, the preliminary budget. And I've just got a few bullet points to share with you.
I hate to interrupt, but please mute your mics, please. Okay, go ahead, Chris. Sorry.
Thank you. So we have a total preliminary budget district-wide of $56,968,970 in appropriations. And I'm going to talk a little bit about each fund for just a second, but I do want to point out that the additional mill levies that you will consider in July for the Sweetwater BOCES, 0.5 mil. And these dollar amounts that are listed here are the amounts that were generated from this year's, from the 2019 assessed valuation. So they will change slightly when we get the updated assessed valuation, but those are what those are based on. Jamie, if you'll bring up the other presentation, I'll just flip through the funds. I just wanted to highlight within each fund, within the general fund, I'll just start with that. Some of the things that happened for this budget year, and one being we received, if you'll switch to page 3, next page. I just wanted to touch base on the ECA that we were funded for, and we have talked about that, but I want to remind everybody that we were funded with an ECA and that we've estimated will bring $491,574 into our funding model for this upcoming year. Next, we had the health insurance funding adjustment that was made within the model, and this is where they funded the composite health insurance increase for all of our covered employees, or all of our state funded covered employees at the full increase, and the non-covered employees were only increased by 50% of the increase in the health insurance. So that is a modification that was made to the health insurance funding. And the next slide shows what that brought in for us, $416,000. And that's a little bit under the estimate that we originally had shared with everyone based on an update that we did with reporting of the employees. So just an update on that. Next, I want to remind you that we're still working under the special education cap. The special education reimbursement is going to be capped again at the 17-18 level. We do expect to exceed the cap. However, there is the reallocation piece that was very favorable to us this year. And we can't predict it, but we think that we will at least get some funds on that reallocation. And I know that Special Services Director Demaray is constantly looking at efficiencies that we can gain and creative processes that we can gain to control the costs in special ed. And it's a really tough job to do that. Next, I want to mention the transportation reimbursement currently. That is still set to be reimbursed at 100% of expenditures. And then a really important piece that I want to share with you, the next piece is on our ADM. And this is something that we just have to deal with, but it is a loss, again, a loss of 50 ADM on the funding, 51 actually ADM on the funding so this chart shows you our actual ADM just dipped below 2,500 at 2,494 for this fiscal year. And the rolling ADM is holding us up at 2,519, but still a drop of 50. The next slide will show you the historical adjustments in the ADM. And you can see for the last 2 years, it's a 2% decrease. So still wondering when we're going to hit bottom there, but that is the ADM, and that does affect us pretty significantly in our funding. So we did have the pluses, and we do have a minus here on the ADM piece. Moving on to special revenue, I would just like to point out that we are anticipating the CARES Act grant for the COVID-19 issue. We are currently working to identify instances where we feel like we've got that list going on. We've incurred some expenses that we understand are going to be reimbursable, and everybody's submitting those ideas to us. There's also money that will come that's available to us through the governor's office called GEAR funds. So we have 690,000 and 80,000. Now the CARES grant is a grant that has to be written, and we should be getting the application on that very soon. And the GEAR funds would be coming to us through the governor's office in the amount of 80,000. And I honestly am not fully up to par on how those funds are going to help us yet, but we have included that in the special revenue appropriations. Next, I'd like to point out with the debt service fund that we will be making our final payment on the Aquatic Center on June 15th of 2021. And we feel like, I mean, if the assessed valuation stays close to the 2019 value, we should be able to keep the mill levy steady as it was for last year at 1.71, but that could change depending on what happens with the assessed valuation, but it will be very close to the 1.71 for next year. Regarding nutrition services, we do have increased participation, and we're going to give you a report on nutrition services for this year, but we're anticipating that will keep our level of participation up to the level that it was this year. We have an increase of 37,000 in revenue, and part of that is coming from increased participation, and part of it is coming from the vending machines that were placed at the high school. And we'll give you some more details on that in our upcoming presentation. And then appropriations, we did have an increase in appropriations. Of course, we're going to have increased food purchases because we are feeding more children. And we hope to be able to work some equipment items into the budget this year. So those are the reasons for those changes. Major maintenance. We do budget 100% of our available funds, and that's 4.97 million. Of course, a lot of that is encumbered on the Lincoln Middle School Phase 2 remodel. And it sounds like work is underway there, so that's exciting to get started on that. Regarding capital projects funds, this is just a quick itemization. What we're working on, the bleachers, the weight room equipment. Of course, those two projects are capital projects funds, but are reimbursed by the rec board. The Aquatic Center bond funds that remain in account make up 730,763 of that. That is the premium account and the maintenance reserve account. That's totally designated toward the Aquatic Center. We do have a budget of 195,590 for security projects that we anticipate getting from the state this year. And we have a contingency of 100,000. Our special reserve for equipment fund, we expect a budget of 426,000. And our pupil activity fund, appropriations of $1,079,000. That would be their fundraisers scheduled for next year, which they take in usually over 600,000, and then the carryover. I do want to update the board, if you remember from our audit presentation last year, that GASB 84 was going to implement some rule changes on our activity funds and how we handled those, and that rule has been delayed for 1 year, but we will in effect be implementing that beginning July 1 of 2020, and we feel like we have a good handle on it. We've been working with our activities director Beardsley, and we will be working on with the principals on some of their smaller accounts into how we will be in compliance with GASB 84 on the activity fund. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions from the board on this presentation? You got to turn your mic on, Mark.
I have a question, Chris. We just saved a ton of money on fuel cost and the lack of transportation. Where is that money going to go?
So some of those funds for transportation, I'll just bring this up now. I was going to be bringing it up in a minute, but there is a draft bill that's before the legislature coming up Friday, and they are going to, the proposal is that they will increase the cash reserve limit for this 1 year only, for June 30th of 2020. And we are handling some of our non-expended funds in certain ways, but some of those funds, like for transportation and like for summer school and ESY summer school, we fully intend to carry those funds over into next year and use those, like in the if we can use them in July in the Jump Start program, or transportation has some needs that we will be using some of their unexpended fuel money. In fact, we are getting their software updated. This week, actually, we did get an order out because they are in need of a software upgrade. So that was a trade-off in fuel expenses in and of itself.
All right, so what we had so much we were going to use in fuel, and of course we haven't used the fuel. What's the amount, would you say, if you know, in what we did not spend in the transportation side?
I can tell you for fuel, we're leaving probably about 25 to 30,000 in that budget. You know, she's trying to, I think that the tanks have been topped off as much as possible. And if I think there probably is not room to get more, there may be room to get more fluids, but the software package that we are purchasing to replace our current system will take about 20,000 of that. So we have repurposed some of the funds, and we're also looking at some new style of cameras for some of the buses that would fit into that budget contingency there.
So essentially we've repurposed the money on the fuel. Okay,
yes,
thank you.
Try to repurpose it as much as possible.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, thanks, Mark. Good question. Any other questions? I need a motion. Oh, go ahead, Brenda.
Do we have an idea on, I might have missed this, but on the percentage that they're going to allow us to carry over this one time?
The draft legislation allows up to 25%.
But we don't
there is talk that they may not go that high, but that is what is in the bill.
Thank you. Sorry.
That's okay.
Okay, thank you, Brenda. I need a motion to approve the preliminary budget.
So moved.
I'll make a motion.
Moved by Brenda, second by Mark, to approve the preliminary budget as presented tonight by Chris. Nice job, Chris. Any other questions, comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next is consider approval of the budget amendments. Chris, you're back on the stage.
Okay. Very good. Thank you again. We'll start with the proposed food service budget amendment. So with the emergency meal program that was instituted with the school closure on March 16th, we have received and we have expended more money in food. And of course, we've been reimbursed for that, but we need to increase our revenues by $280,647. That's in the federal revenue line item, and increase appropriations by $225,500. And that would be in the appropriations, most of that being food, increased food costs, increase a small amount for salaries and benefits, and some equipment. But this, we're going to update you on this emergency meal program, but we expect to receive over $400,000 in federal reimbursement for this program from March 16th through May 21st. And the cost to purchase that food, which the food had to be food that could go home, you know, not cooked food. And so we had to purchase that food in order to deliver that program. So does anybody have any questions on that particular amendment?
Let's work these two amendments separate, okay?
Okay.
Okay, so I need a motion to approve the amendment to the nutrition services budget, $280,647, and appropriations $225,500.
So moved.
I'll make that motion, or second.
Okay, Karina, who moved it?
Rochelle.
Okay, Rochelle moved, Karina seconded the amendment to the food service budget. Any questions? Chris, of course, I have to have a question on nutrition services. What is the expected subsidy from the general fund budget on June 30th for food service now? Is that going to remain the same?
I would propose that it remains the same, yes.
Okay, perfect. Glad to hear that. Okay, any other questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we have a second amendment. Chris, back to you.
Okay. Okay, I have a general fund appropriations amendment here. And what we are doing, we are proposing to increase the appropriation line items by $949,981, partly due to increased revenues and partly due to budgetary savings and contingency. It is my recommendation to increase the 7,000 special reserve for equipment area by $250,000, as well as increase the 1,000, 2,000, and 3,000 program area for a total of $699,981. This appropriation increase ties with our goal to optimize the current fund balance requirement of 15% or less, and it results in the district's ability to provide a one-time stipend to all of our regular employees. The stipend that's proposed would be paid on June 15th. The total cost of the stipend, the total general fund cost of the stipend is the $699,981. The total cost of the stipend would be $753,550. It amounts to a 3.22% overall salary stipend. The teacher stipend would be $1,915. The support stipend would be 54 cents per hour for the employees' scheduled annual hours. 10-month admin, $3,100. 11-month admin, $3,523. 12-month admin, $3,816. Technology, $1,824, and supervisors, $2,786. Additionally, I'm recommending that a cash reserve designation of $297,292 of impact aid revenue as allowed under Wyoming Statute 2113-313. In effect, this designation becomes a hold harmless exclusion to the 15% cash reserve limitation. This will allow the district flexibility in upcoming budget years as we face continuing declining enrollment and other economic pressures beyond our control. With this amendment, the line items show an increase. However, the projected ending fund balance as of today would be 8.344 million, which would be a little bit over our 15%. And like I said earlier, those funds, or any funds that are over the 15% that would end up being carried over are going to be, we believe, will fall under the new legislative proposal that we feel is going to be passed to some level. We don't know if it's going to be the 25%, but it's going to be increased. And we fully believe that that increase is 1 year only, that we will be held to the 15% cash reserve limitation on the subsequent year, June 30th of 2021. So we are repurposing, we are carrying over some of the funds to handle some of the Jumpstart program, some of the expenditures that we foresee we didn't get to do this year that we will put into the general fund budget as we identify those, and they will be ready for July.
Okay, thank you, Chris, for that update. And board, I instructed Chris that, in my opinion, and we know how the legislature works, and Brenda and Robin, you really know how they work. They're talking 25%. I wouldn't be shocked if they came back and said no and did 15%. So I instructed Chris to present everything with the 15% reserve in mind until that legislature actually does something positive for school districts. Although they did some nice things this year, I shouldn't say it was all negative, but I think it's prudent for this board to in this day and age to think about a 15% cash reserve limitation by the legislature. And if they change that, and we will know this before the June board meeting, we can make adjustments from there in terms of that $8.34 million we're looking at in cash reserves. So that's just kind of a backdrop of the discussions I've had with Chris over the last couple of weeks. Until they do something, we need to keep it where we're at, and hopefully they will do something. We don't know. Mm-hmm. So with that backdrop, I need a motion to approve the amendment as presented by Chris.
So moved. Brenda?
Second, Ashley.
Okay, moved by Brenda, second by Ashley, to approve the budget amendment as presented by our business manager tonight, Chris. Any questions?
You know, I think we're really smart in staying within that 15% guideline because we just don't know what they'll do. And if we do have excess funds, we definitely have that meeting in June to make some adjustments if we need to. So.
Yeah, I think it's very prudent of the board. Exactly. Rochelle, do you have something? Oh, you had your mic off. Okay.
Oh, right. Sorry. No.
All right. And to the employees of the district, the board is extremely proud of you. And again, I think this is the third year that we have sent you a very nice thank you. And it's because of all the hard work that you do. And we're extremely proud of all of our employees. So I'd almost call this a COVID-19 supplemental fund to our employees. And as we all know, that this money supposedly turns over 7 times. So this is a good shot into the economy. And I'd encourage all our employees as best as you can to try to dump some of that into the local economy. If you can certainly do so, we would all appreciate it. So with that said, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? I'm going to abstain from this vote, so please note that. This motion is passed. Thank you. Chris, appreciate your hard work. Appreciate what you did for us last night and keeping us up to date on our budgeting. Appreciate it. Brenda, do you have something?
No,
you good?
Thanks
okay.
for doing the good.
Okay, so that stipend will be issued on the June 15th paycheck to our employees. Next up is 10.04, consider approval of the school walk boundaries, bus stops, and hazardous street. Rachel Todd, welcome to our meeting. I'm assuming we have no changes, right?
Too many. Thank you for this opportunity, Superintendent Christensen, Chairman Core, and Board of Trustees. None of the boundaries have changed or the hazard streets, but with new developments in the community, we are adding a stop on Buck Drive to accommodate the students that live there up on that circle or horseshoe. It's not really safe to stop up there on Upland. And then we are adding a stop at Washington and East Teton, as it was pointed out to us from several parents at the beginning of the year that we have students that are crossing East Teton to get on the stop down at Alexandra. And I really just don't feel like that's safe for them to be crossing that, that hazard street. So we've suggested the creation of the stop at Washington and East Teton to accommodate those risk factors. So, but everything else that you see here has not changed from last year, just those two stops.
Okay, good idea on that Alexandria Street. I agree with you on that wholeheartedly. I think Karina would probably agree with you too. That can be hazardous. All right, I need a motion to approve this year's school walk boundaries, bus stops, and hazardous streets.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Karina moved and Brenda seconded to approve the presentation by Rachel tonight. We appreciate your efforts, Rachel. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Rachel, for your time. Next up is consider approval of the revisions to policy GBM. Dr. Fuss, you're on stage.
Thanks, Chairman Core, Trustees, Superintendent Christensen. This is the third reading. This is just the definition policy, and you can see it in front of you. We're just spelling out the types of issues that employees may have and giving them some guidance what avenue to pursue. So thank you for your consideration on third reading.
Jason just mentioned third reading. I need a motion to approve this, please.
So moved, Rochelle.
Moved by Rochelle, second by Robin to approve policy GBM. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We have an update on our nutrition services. I understand Leah Kennison's with us tonight, and I believe Chris Dean will also be part of this discussion. Ladies, welcome.
Good evening. Chairman Core, Superintendent Christensen, Board of Trustees. Chris, you want to go first?
Yep. Yes, thank you. We're going to tag team this report, and we did the report on the nutrition services last year at this time. And so we felt like it was a good time to update you on the program thus far this year. So we've got 3 bullet points, and I'm just going to give you some facts and figures on each one. And then after I give you those, then Leah is going to give us her expertise on the program side of things. So first, to start with, this year's participation for lunch was 57% and for breakfast 18%, both increased 9% and 3%. And the total meals served is listed there, 160,623 meals through March 13th, and then in the 42,380 breakfasts. So if you would like to, Leah, go ahead and speak to participation.
This year, my biggest goal was to increase those numbers. And last year at the meeting, we had discussed ways we could possibly look at doing that, for this year. And I think it was Mr. Core who said, is it surveying the kids? Is it sampling the kids? Is it the food? What do we need to look at here? Well, I think it was all of those things. I went into this year with promotional ideas. We did, national food holidays. So every month we celebrated 1 to 2 national food holidays. And then we also started creating new recipes. Some of them were simple changes. As you all know, we have our guidelines with the federal government as far as the sodium and all of that kind of stuff. One of my passions is, of course, cooking. There's lots of ways you can cook food without increasing sodium. One of the simplest ways we did add flavor to the food was just by adding Mrs. Dash to the fries. So it kind of became a joke throughout the year, because there were times that my ladies, they weren't used to putting the Mrs. Dash on the fries. So the kids would come through and say, where are the sprinkles? You didn't put the sprinkles on. So they'd have to make sure that they sprinkled that food. We sampled all of the schools when we had new products. We sampled the high school this year with spicy chicken nuggets that we're going to be bringing in next year. They're very similar to Wendy's chicken nuggets. And, you know, mainly I think that it's word of mouth. You get the kids excited about the food, they tell their friends, and I need their input. They're my customers, and that's who I need to go to revamp these menus and to make it what the kids want to eat.
Okay, we'll move on to number 2. The other successful story with nutrition services is the high school vending machines that were purchased last year. There were 2 machines purchased and installed at the Green River High School. And the vending sales for those 2 machines through March 13th was $24,226. We predicted it would have been over $32,000 if the schools would have remained open for the year. But the product cost for the machines was $10,451. We had a net profit of almost $14,000 on those 2 machines. We, in essence, paid for more than 1 machine. So go ahead, Leah.
Yeah, the vending machines, I know you guys have all heard a lot about these, but you know, the kids really like the vending machines at the high school. You know, we have captured a lot of those kids that are staying after school. They're being able to get food in between their activities or before they hit the bus home. It's really been a win-win. You know, there was always glitches when you have new products like this, but you know, the kids thank me almost daily when they see me up there with these vending machines, and you know, most of the food in the vending, all of the food has to be smart snack compliant. And what that means is it has to meet the healthy snacking options that are available for the kids. So this food that we're offering the kids, it's not as fattening, it's not as high in sodium, but they have come out with a lot of good products for the vending machine items.
Okay, and on to the emergency meal program. This thing has been phenomenal, to be honest with you. The projected revenue for this 2.5 month period, March 16th through May 22nd, is going to be $481,279. That's from the USDA reimbursement. The projected food and labor cost is $399,000, and that basically repurposed the labor for this period of time, the normal labor for this period of time towards this program, because I believe the food service staff pretty much worked their regularly scheduled day almost all of this time to deliver this program. And then I've just itemized the number of meals the actual number of meals that were served in March, the actual number that were served in April. It included weekend meals. And May's meals also include weekend meals, and May's meals are projected. But it's just a phenomenal program, and I think it was well received by the community. But Leah, please talk about that.
Yeah, so this emergency meal program, we redid this the way that we were providing meals for families 4 different times. It's been a constant change. The community, they were so grateful, and it was so great for us to see the kids, and it was a great way for us to also get information out to the families as far as packets for learning or Chromebooks or you know, it was really ideal how it all came about. You know, we did in April, we served 28 of 30 days, and we ended up having to prepackage all of the food individually. So we went from serving our hot items to sending them home frozen, to where parents and kids could cook them at home and eat them. And then it got to a point where the manufacturers couldn't keep up with the demand. So we started having issues with getting some of the products that we were using. So again, it was a switch in items that we could receive and how quickly we could get them here. We have now had to switch again and go to straight prepackaged food because, you know, at the end of school, we're trying to transition this back into a traditional summer meal program, mainly because I have 20 staff on hand right now, but going into the summer, I'm only going to have 8 people that want to work this summer. So to still be able to provide the meals to the community, I needed to get it back to those 3 sites and, you know, have it to where my staff can still come in and take care of what needs to be taken care of for the families, and we can keep going forward. And then when if that transition comes where we can, you know, congregate and have people sit down and eat, then we'll switch again to serving the hot items, just like we did during the school year and last summer meals.
Okay, is that it, Chris, or you got more?
I just want to add one more thing here. If you look at the, you know, this is a money-making venture, which is good news. And we feel like when we pull these numbers together, that is going to give us an opportunity. The bright spot in this is that we will be able to get some much needed equipment that food service has been waiting for. They stagger the budget for equipment to try to fit in the budget that they have. And, you know, they just had both of their mixers broke down this year. They replaced one, but we're going to probably be able to get them another mixer. We're probably going to be able to get them another vending machine because of the success that we've had with the first 2. So that's the silver lining in this whole thing. And I know that the food service program, they just rose to the occasion, and everybody knows what they did and that they delivered to this community. And I think the community appreciated it, and it's just a real silver lining here. So thanks, Leah, and your department. And I also, if I may, would like to thank my staff. These budget numbers were not put together just by myself. I would like to thank Jamie and Jason and the board for the leadership to get this ready to you today. So it was a team effort, and I appreciate everybody's help. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Chris, and back at you. We appreciate everything that was done to get this this information out as best we could. We appreciate it. Leah, thank you very much for that update. Next up is the update on Green River High School Expedition Academy graduation plans. Apparently Darren's not with us, so Mr. Imoni, hopefully your mic won't cut out on you this time, and could you bring us up to date on Green River High School graduation?
Yeah, thanks, Chairman Core, Superintendent Christensen, Board of Trustees. Hopefully this is a little bit better. I got a 2-year-old running around, so I was hiding in my bedroom. So hopefully I'm a little closer to the router this time. But just on the update on graduation, well, we'll take you a little bit through the process that we went through when we learned that we may have to make an alternative plan for graduation. Mr. Howard and the rest of the administration worked in conjunction with Central and Central Office and the Health Department to put out a survey to folks to see what they would prefer. And then after that survey, Mr. Howard put together a graduation committee that comprised of the senior sponsors, the counseling office, the registrar office, support staff members, Nancy Ryder in technology, along with the custodians. From there, we set a couple dates with a couple different plans for graduation. The first piece that probably in my mind was that turned out fairly well, and I think people really were pleasantly surprised with, was the senior walk on May 5th from 5:30 to 8:30 p.m. What we did was we sectioned students off in groups of 10 to 15 and gave them 15-minute increments where they had an opportunity to walk the halls of Green River High School one last time, with some photo opportunities at the Walk of Fame, along with the senior wall. And then once the students got to the Commons area, we simulated a graduation, a virtual graduation, where we said the student's name, had the student walk across, I guess a quote unquote stage, and receive their diploma with their family members watching. At the end, it concluded with the students and their families having an opportunity to take a picture with the diploma sleeve that we will actually put in the virtual graduation. So we felt like that turned out pretty well. Pomp and Circumstance was playing. The custodians, our senior sponsors, did a really nice job of decorating the hallways at Green River High School. It was decorated. And then our counseling staff and our registrar office did a really nice job of helping direct people. And then Marissa DeClerc and Quinn Kalinsky also helped us as well. So here's how the process will work now. Steve, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe on May 18th, we're going to post that video. Nancy Ryder and Technology is putting that video together. It's going to be posted at 7 p.m. on the Green River High School Facebook page and the YouTube page. We want families to watch that video entirely. There's going to be a virtual flag presentation. Mr. Howard and Mr. Freeman filmed that the other day with Troop 312, the Boy Scout Troop 312. Senator Barrasso has a message to our kids. So he videotaped a message for our kiddos. Superintendent Christensen's going to have a welcome message. And then from there, we're going to roll through a very similar graduation that would look like at Green River High School in the gym. So that's in each student's name will be read along with their senior picture and their baby picture. So just like they had graduated from Green River High School, at the end, there's going to be, my understanding, a tribute to all of the sports teams this year and some messages to our seniors from some of our staff members.
Okay, is there any questions of Mike? Hearing none, we'll get an update from Ralph. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate your efforts, you and Swartzy and Darren. Good job.
Thanks, Steve.
All right, thank you, Chairman Core, board members, and Superintendent Christensen. A lot of the same similar items that Mr. Imoni just talked about. Our seniors started coming in Monday, today, and we'll finish up with the last 6 tomorrow. We created a stage in our conference room. We have them walk across, then we have them walk across, receive their diplomas. They've been able to take pictures with their families. We'll do the same as the baby pictures and the seniors, senior photos in there. We've got Senator Brasso's going to send us a video also speaking. Mr. Core came in and spoke. Mr. Christensen's got his piece recorded. We're going to put music to it. And with my technological skills, I'm recruiting Mr. Williams to come in and help me out. And I am praying that this comes off well.
I think we all are, Ralph. We really are. This has been a real tough deal. And I think what you guys have put together and is really going to be pretty cool. I think it'll be special. And of course, we always wanted graduation to be memorable. And I think this might do it.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. It's been fun for me being able to have all the kids individually come in, because when we get them up there on the stage, it's a big group. To be able to hand them their diplomas and visit with them individually has been a lot of fun for me. So, and I appreciate the work that the city has done and the fire crews and city administration working with us to help with the fireworks also.
Okay, thank you, Ralph. Appreciate the update. Next up is our superintendent and board comments. And Robin, you're the first person on my screen that I'm looking at, so I'll let you go first if you would, please. Your mic's on or off. There you go.
I'll start with the graduation ceremonies. I'm really excited about how they're coming together and how we're going to honor our students in a safe way, which I think is very important for the families to have a moment to celebrate, but keeping everyone safe and around them. So I appreciate that. All I have to say to Leah is she's an angel. I mean, to do all of that for our kids, prepare all those meals, organize that so our families, children who may not have gotten a meal that day, get a meal. And I greatly appreciate the effort that went into that. So thank you for that. And for all of our staff members who've trudged through this new teaching ground that hasn't been easy, but they've put in the hours and the dedication. And I'm glad we could do something for our staff members with a stipend to give a little thank you for all of their hard work. So I hope they continue to work hard and get a little fun in the summer too. So I'm done.
Okay, thank you, Robin. Appreciate the comments. Ashley?
Okay. Also, good luck and congratulations to all of our graduating seniors. I know it's not exactly how they pictured their graduation going, but I think we've done the best with the circumstances, and I think it'll be a lot of fun. Actually, they've had a lot of different things going on, so that's great. Thank you to our teachers and parents and everybody who has hung in there with us through virtual learning. I know it's different at everybody's houses are different age groups, and that looks different for everybody helping each other out. But thank you for hanging in there, and we're almost done. I just also wanted to say, I know there's lots of questions about what the fall looks like, but I just hope everyone knows that we are working on that and running through the different scenarios so that we can be as best prepared for the fall as we can be. And hopefully things just go back to normal, but we'll see how that goes. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashley. Appreciate it. Brenda?
I think that as we honor all the superheroes of people that have worked in the community, our teachers, our food service, all those employees that continued working either from home or in altered states, just a real big thank you. I think they've done an amazing job. And to our parents that are homeschooling their children. It's almost over, hopefully. Also, WSBA is offering some forums for the chairs and vice chairs to just share ideas about ideas for how they're going to reopen schools. And so if you have an opportunity to join in and participate on those, they're doing them district size wise. So, other than that, thank you. And thank you, Chris, and your staff for this budget and for GREA's participation in the negotiations. That was it.
Okay, thank you, Brenda. Appreciate the comments. Mr. Sanders, PA, Doc.
All right, I'm here. There's a saying, in your pain and suffering, always look for the shining star. I'd like to, look at that shining star as a district and saving money through all this with utility costs, water costs, transportation costs. I'd like to see a lot of that information and what our savings are in that shining star be reported to us. I appreciate everything the teachers are doing. As everybody knows, I have 2 seniors. Dragging them to the finish line has been tough. But I've got lots of messages, a lot of emails, trying to keep seniors from falling through the cracks has been a pretty good effort, I think. So one of the things, Steve, I think that I'd like to see, we hear these coaches talk tonight and Coach Carroll and their years of service. I think we're missing the boat on not offering coaches stipends on top of what they're doing. I think that's a discussion that we should have. But I appreciate the district's effort, the board. We've all been coming together and doing a good job, and really appreciate everybody's hard work. So thank you.
All right, thank you, Mark, and congratulations to you on your 2 graduates. That's pretty cool. Karina.
Thank you.
I just want to start by thanking Chris and her team for the work they've done on the budget. It's always, I always enjoy it because I learn something a little bit more the more we talk about budgets. They're very knowledgeable. They put it in layman's terms that we would understand. So I appreciate that. I really enjoyed the GREA meeting. I thank them for attending yesterday. I thought it was very productive. Things went very well. We had good discussions, and I think we came to an agreement on a good package. I don't think that we can thank the district enough, the admin team, the leadership team, for their guidance and what they provided to the district, for the principals, the teachers, the families, the parents, just providing all that information and getting on the ball really quick. I think I mentioned it last time too, but I'll mention it again. We were ahead of the game, and that's awesome. We were up and ready within a week's time to be able to start teaching again. So that has a lot to do with our admin and our leadership team, and I appreciate that. The department heads, transportation, food services, maintenance, your innovative ideas to help the district out, help the district save money, and just provide to the community is just heartwarming, and I appreciate that. The teachers stepping up and being able to accept the change and move into a more virtual learning world is just phenomenal. All of you guys together, the teachers, the admin, leadership team, department heads, have really come together and provided the end of the school year successfully. I know we still have a couple of weeks left, but really it could have gone a lot worse. Our kids were being able to be educated, teachers reaching out to individual students, to parents, and I just appreciate that. And even more, I love being a part of the district. Saying that I belong to school district 2 I'm very proud. Graduation, I'm excited for graduation. The high school EA, you guys have put a lot of time and effort into it. A lot of people have put a lot of effort into it. And so I encourage the community to come out and support them on their graduation days, and just show them what a community, what great community we are, and supporting them through this COVID. Even though this is a different type of graduation, we're still here for them. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Karina. Rochelle.
I just want to thank all the teachers. Everybody's doing a great job. I want to give a shout out to the SROs that we have. I spoke with one of the supervisors over at DFS, and they sang the praises of the SROs that we have, said that they rely on them a lot and that they do a great job, and they circumvent a lot of, they're able to help people and fix things and keep DFS out of the situation, because no one wants DFS involved in their family unless they absolutely have to be. So thanks to the SROs for doing that. Congratulations to our graduates, and congratulations to Rick Carroll on being Coach of the Year. That's a big deal, and you've impacted a lot of people over the years, and we're lucky to have you. So everybody enjoy the last few weeks, and to Joe Hamill, wear some pants or get a tan next time.
JoJo wearing shorts tonight, huh? Okay, I'm sure all of them are, including the next guy I'm proud to introduce, Mr. Christensen. Jamie.
Thanks, everybody.
Are you going to stand up to prove you're not wearing shorts?
Nope.
I didn't think so.
I'd like to also thank Chris and Corinne and Katie for their work on the budget stuff, and the time they take as I kind of ask some questions and ask them to kind of dial that down for me a little bit. I've learned a lot in the process, and in this role in the process, and hopefully I've tried to explain things as clearly as I could, but boy, I had to ask for a lot of guidance sometimes from Corinne and Chris, and they've been great. Other than that, I think another group that we haven't mentioned yet, that from March 16th, they've been on the go, and that is our technology group. Our IT department has really done a nice job. It was a darn fire drill trying to get those Chromebooks out and everything, and I know that they're going to be working on getting them back in. But on top of that, they've had RSN that's been working remotely with them. through all that time, as well as they've managed that thing. So I've really appreciated JR and his team in that capacity as well. And then the last thing, I put this up here earlier on this screen. I've got my shaky handed route at the parade route, and I hope that on May 20th, that the town of Green River, the city of Green River, comes out and lines that route for those seniors, all the seniors in the district, as it starts up here on Wild Horse Canyon Road and comes down and goes around over the overpass all the way up to Upland, by the high school, down Hitching Post by the stadium. The lights are going to be on down there, and then take a ride out to where we're going to have the fireworks out there. And I appreciate the board's donation on that, because that's going to make it special for them. And boy, everybody's done a nice job at trying to make this as memorable as they could for their students. And sure appreciate everybody's work. And I hope that everybody turns out on the 20th.
All right. Thank you, Jamie. And I guess I get the last word tonight. I want to congratulate the graduates. Thanks for your patience. Thanks for your hard work. This is just a little blip in the road of life. You will survive this, and you'll go on to great things. I know you will. Hope you enjoy the fireworks. And I hope you enjoyed those signs on your winter drive. I don't know who did those signs, but those things are awesome and makes you pretty proud when you drive by them every time. I want to thank our outgoing employees, especially our retirees, as you leave your profession and go into your next chapter in life. I hope you enjoy yourself, and we appreciate your efforts you did in school district number 2. I want to special thanks to Chris, Corinne, and Katie in the business office. Outstanding job. It was great working with you, Chris, for the last month on this negotiations. And as usual, your professionalism is second to none. I want to thank the guys and the gals at central office, especially Jamie, Jason, Alan, Greg, and Mary. Every time I walk into that office, which is probably more than I should, but I do walk in there quite a bit. And the professionalism as I come in is impressive. Doug and the maintenance crew, things are starting to green up. I did see Old Faithful a couple of days ago when I went to work, just on the north side of the football field. I thought I was in Yellowstone National Park. We had a pipe that blew up, and that water was spewing pretty high. But Doug, I know your crew will do a great job. And the only thing I got to say to you, Doug, is the dandelions are starting to show up. Also, I want to mention Jamie. Jamie, I know we have one more board meeting with you in June, but this district has taken a new route, and it's a route that I like. I think we're headed in the right direction, and your leadership in the last 9 months has been unbelievable, and I appreciate the heck out of you. And I've heard that from a lot of people in our district, that your leadership has been great. And I know we're going to get a chance to say goodbye to you in June, but I just want you to know I appreciate everything you do. And I'm telling you, if you decide to get back into this game of educating from the top, this school district will do everything we can to get you that job. I can tell you, you've done a great job, and we appreciate you.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
And with that, I appreciate everybody that's joined us tonight. I think we got touched by pretty much everybody, and we appreciate it. Steve Schwartz, we didn't get to hear from you, but I see your daughter's with you. Class of what? Uh-oh. I can't hear you. So, all right. Anyway, thank you. Appreciate everybody coming, and we'll see you in June. We'll see some of you in June. I appreciate the school board members for your efforts in the last couple of days and the last couple of weeks. You guys, we've done some good stuff, and we should be proud of ourselves. So with that, this meeting is adjourned. Thanks for attending tonight.